And I think it was that one click of a ring, and Guruji said, "Yes, Janki, how are you?" I think as if it was that Guruji was expecting my call, or it was like a pre-planned event or something. And I just told him everything, and he said, "That's not uterus cancer, it's blood." And I was like, okay. And my voice was a little shivering, and I was like, "Guruji, I don't know what to do. I'm like shocked right now." And he said, it's the most simplest disease that I can cure. And it was like, okay. And that was the kind of relief that I got. And he was like, "Don't think about anything, just come to India." We probably took it little lightly on the therapies that he said, saying that, okay, what does a carrot juice do to a person? And just drinking carrot juice every day, what benefit does it have? We took things little light, on a lighter note. And then he said, "You guys didn't follow, and that's the reason why she is diagnosed with this one." And he said, first, though he's given us the dates, he's asked us to come all the way from the US, he said, "No, I will not heal her."
Very good morning to you, Janki ji and Shamla ji. It's very nice having you on this platform. And this is the first time that we are doing an interview where the participants are across the seven seas, meaning the US. So, quite excited and looking forward to have this connect. So far, uh, you'd have seen all the interviews that we've had. Something or the other unique has always come out on the surface, which has been of immense value to the viewers of this series. And I am very hopeful that today's interview is going to be likewise the same, and look forward to our conversation. So maybe we can start with a quick introduction for both of you, and then we will follow through the rest of the course of the interview.
Sure. Thanks, Advaitji, for giving this opportunity. And I would actually send across my humble salutations at the lotus feet of Guruji and at the lotus feet of Guruma, and love to all the KMGians viewing this interview. Uh, Om Shanti, Om Namah Shivaya.
Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Shanti, Om Namah Shivaya.
Thank you, Shamlaji. Would you want to? I know you mentioned. Would you want to speak a bit about yourself and talk about how you came in contact with Guruji?
Yes. I will talk. My name is Syamala. I will talk in Hindi.
No
Okay.
problem. Be comfortable.
Professionally, I am an advocate in Hyderabad. I am very close to उषा किरण. एक दिन मैं और मेरी बेटी जानकी उषा किरण के घर गए थे. उस टाइम वो रेडी हो रहे गुरुजी से मिलने के लिए. Then she asked me, तुम लोग भी आ जाओगे गुरुजी से मिलने के लिए बोल के. फिर हम दोनों गए उनके साथ रविंद्र जी का घर. वहाँ गुरुजी को हम देखे. गुरुजी को देख के मेरे को ऐसा लगी पहली बार नहीं, बहुत साल से गुरुजी को मैं जानती हूँ. फिर बाद में गुरुजी हमको बैठने के लिए बोला. थोड़ी देर के बाद गुरुजी हमको अंदर बुलाया. He gave hug and he asked me, what is your problem? Actually, I am not ill health at that time. बस मेरे को थोड़ा सा राइट साइड नी पेन ज़्यादा थी. फिर मैं गुरुजी को बोली, मेरे को नी पेन ज़्यादा है बस, और कुछ नहीं है. फिर गुरुजी थोड़ी देर बात किया. फिर नेक्स्ट डे आने के लिए बोला मेरे को। अगेन नेक्स्ट डे वी वेंट देयर. Guruji gave one healing and he suggested to take the therapies, juices and everything. उस टाइम से मैं वो कंटिन्यू किया. फिर whenever गुरुजी हैदराबाद आते थे, उषा किरण मेरे को बोलती थी गुरुजी आ रहे हैं बोल के. मैं गुरुजी से मिलने के लिए जाती थी.
And Janki ji, how did you come to meet Guruji?
Okay, this was in 2011 when I finished my masters and I was working in the US, and I returned to India. And one fine afternoon, it was that Usha Kiran auntie is very close to mom, and as such, she's been my first boss, I would say, when I started my practice in India. So usually, when you are a little low or you want to, just get that comfort, she's always been there. So she's just a call away. So you would just call her and say, "Auntie, are you home?" And she was like, "Come on." So it was one such afternoon when we had called her, and she said, "Yeah, yeah, come, sure. I mean, why do you ask all the time?" And we reached her home and we saw that she was, hurrying. She was getting ready, and then she said, "How about that you guys join me? I'm in a rush, but it'll be good if you come along with me. We have our Guruji who is in Hyderabad, so I'm going there, and they have this Pada Puja and everything of Guruji." So we had gone with her to Usha Ravindra auntie's house, and that was the first time when when me and mom, we met our beloved Guruji. And like what mom said, when you see him, that unconditional love in his eyes and the hug that he gives everyone, I think that's a life-changing thing.
So how was, so that's excellent. How was your first meeting with Guruji? Did anything happen? Did he tell you something that really helped you? What was that experience like, Janki?
Okay, so the main thing that we went was a casual visit, because I think we were destined to meet Guruji that day. In short, that's how I would put it. And we had gone there, and we were asked to sit, and the whole atmosphere was so divine and serene, I would say, that everyone had a smile on their face, and so cardinal they were. And it was, I never felt that I was meeting someone, or even the KMGians who were there, like you're meeting them for the first time. That warmth that you could feel in their house was something which I never experienced before. And Guruji met us, and the first thing what Guruji would ask was your name, and then he would straight away take your palms, look at your palms, and then give a hug. And he asked mom, "So why are you here?" And mom was like, "What's your problem?" And mom said that, "I have these arthritic knee pains that I have." So he just looked at her palms and he said, "Come tomorrow, I'll schedule a healing for you." And then he looked at me and he asked, "So why are you here?" So I think I just smiled, and I said, "I think I was destined to meet you today." And typically that time I was not married, and that was one of the reasons for my visit to India, because mom was a little tensed on that issue. And so that was the first thing that she asked him when Guruji was looking at my hand. And he said, don't get worried, she'll get a very good guy." So in short, it was like, uh, stay happy, be peaceful, all I would say. and that was the first thing. But he did tell me that by looking at my hand that I have issues with my stomach, which I never knew, because I think everyone before meeting Guruji, they think that you have a regular routine of life, and you think that you're very disciplined in that aspect, and so you're doing everything correct until you meet such divine souls who tell you what are the flaws in your life or in your body. And I think that was one thing which he told me, that no, you have to start uh, to discipline your life, and you don't want to have major health issues in the future. So just start with the juices and jal niti and everything. And we were immediately asked to sit and watch the video of how the jalniti is done and how the acupressures were done, and how the juice, what are the benefits of following the carrot juice and the anar juice and the curry patta juice and everything. So that was our first interaction with Guruji that day. And next day, mom was scheduled for her three healings, three consecutive days, and it was like you would it. We were excited. I think the energy started immediately after we met Guruji and we left home, and it was like you get excited, you are charged up, and you get up in the morning and you're like, okay, we have to meet Guruji. So we went and we had our, luckily, I think we had a breakfast with Guruji that day, and then yeah, and he gave healings to mom for 3 days, and then I think it was a life changing thing for us, you know, trying to discipline ourselves and trying to first. I think the first thing that I learned from what Guruji told me was, you have to love your body. Don't take it for granted that like however you treat it, it'll be the same. So start to love your body, and the way how you do that is by trying to follow all the juices that he said, and systematically. And um, and I think after meeting him, I would say within a couple of months, I met my husband Dave, and I think I would take it as his grace that he, the day I met him, he's aligned everything, he straightened all the path of mine, and I started interacting with Dave, who was here in the US. And the next month, or whenever the next visit, when Guruji had come to Hyderabad, was when I told him that I'm getting married to this guy. And before that, once I started interacting with Dave, I did tell Guruji that I'm talking to this person, and he just smiled at me, and he didn't say a word. It was just a smile, you know. And the next visit of Guruji was when I gave him my wedding card, and the first card of my wedding was given to Guruji and Guruma at Usha Ravindra's auntie's house. And yeah, so I would put it in short that the day I met him, I think things started falling in place in my life.
So this happened when? It must be how many years back
This
was this
was
first?
in this was in mid of 2011.
Okay, so almost 10 years back, I would say.
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. So of course it's like a entire decade worth of experiences, and I'm sure there's this a lot that would be there worth sharing.
Yep,
But some
absolutely.
of the key experiences, especially around the healing protocols, the juice therapy, all those uh, special healing techniques that he's taught, and overall life, any life changing or transformation experiences is what we would like to hear.
I think every day, Advaitji, after we have met Guruji, every day has been a life changing experience for all of us, I guess. But I would like to put two important life changing experiences that I have I would say I was fortunate to witness them. And with those experiences, I think Guruji has I was destined, I guess, and blessed to actually encounter them. And then I think with those experiences, he has made me pretty strong as a person. So the first one was in 2017 when my mom visited us here in the US. And we all three siblings, we live in the US. So mom, yeah, occasionally, I mean, whenever she wants to visit us, she visits, and she visited us, and I think it was in the month of August. She was at my sister's place when suddenly my mom saw a little bleeding, and so that was a little like it surprised us. And then immediately my sister, she scheduled an appointment with the gynecologist here in the US in Pennsylvania. And my the doctor did the normal tests, and then she advised for an ultrasound of the uterus, and which was done. And but then she saw something, and she informed my sister that maybe I would plan to do a biopsy. And that was done in August of 2017. And she came back with a report saying that mom has a uterus cancer. So that was a kind of a shocker. It blew our world off, I would say, because mom is the only parent that we have. So I mean, it took us a while to actually digest and absorb the fact, what the doctor was saying. And the only thing I remembered around that time was Usha Kiran auntie. I mean, I would say that she has been all through our acquaintance with her, which has been more than 20 years. She has been that pillar of support, I would say, you know. And all I did was straight away, not even look at the time, what it was in India around that time, and I straight away called her. And I said, okay, this is what it is. So what exactly do you want us to do right now? And she said, just call Guruji. And I think it was that one click of a ring, and Guruji said, yes, Janki, how are you? I think as if it was that Guruji was expecting my call, or it was like a pre-planned event or something. And I just told him everything, and he said, that's not uterus cancer, it's blood. And I was like, okay. And my voice was a little shivering, and I was like, Guruji, I don't know what to do. I'm like shocked right now. And he said, it's the most simplest disease that I can cure. And it was like, okay. And that was the kind of relief that I got. And he was like, don't think about anything, just come to India. And this was in the month of August, and immediately we scheduled our tickets to India. And me and mom, so around when I was talking to Guruji, I said, Guruji, so can we get an appointment for mom, whether it's in Hyderabad or in Bombay? And he said, I will check the schedule and I will let you know. And because of this sudden news that I had, which was shocking, I was like, I hope Guruji gives us a date, the next available date of Guruji, and we meet him and everything is taken care. It's like that a crying child who goes into the mother's lap. It's that kind of a thing. And he said, I cannot give someone else's dates to you. That is not good for your mom. So you have to wait when your turn comes. So I was patiently, I would say I was a little restless, to be honest, because I think when you have an issue, you all of a sudden you want Guruji's whole attention towards you, I think it might be the childish, still that nature in me, that you think that, okay, Guruji is the ultimate and you just want his whole attention, everything towards you. Then he said, no, you have to wait, so be patient. And anyway, we scheduled our tickets to India, and we traveled from New Jersey, and we reached Hyderabad, and luckily we were contacted, like Guruji asked us to get in touch with Pooja Didi, and we got in touch with her, and she is the most loving person I have met. In short, I would say she's a darling. So anytime, like mom was with my sister and I was in Michigan, and I would get restless sometimes, and I would immediately call Pooja Di, and I was like, are you sure everything will be okay? And she would, whatever the time I call her, I would say it's the patience of her and the care and the love she has for every person, you know, that she would take the call and she would say, yes, don't get worried, and you feel restless or anything, you have any thoughts, she would say, just think of Guruji. And Guruji gave us the dates of, I remember, I think it was September the 26th, 7th and 8th of 2017. So we reached Hyderabad and we stayed for like 3 days, and we flew to Bombay. So the first, I would say, kind of a miracle that happened was that we have never visited Bombay, and we have no one in Bombay except Guruji, of course. So it was like I asked Pooja Di that, which is the best place to stay, because you have to guide me. And I had contacted her here from Michigan itself before I flew, and she was like, you have ISKCON there, and I think you will have to just call them and make the reservations and everything. And I was like, okay. And before we flew to Bombay, right, the first miracle that we witnessed was that Pooja Di called, and she said, you know what, there's a friend of mine who is also a KMGian. Her name is Anita, and she said, you and mom can peacefully stay at her house. So I would put in short that any problem or an obstacle in life that we have faced, I think Guruji has so slowly has removed it that we didn't even know that it was being handled by him. In short, I would put it that way. So we reached Bombay, and Guruji gave us a time of 9:30 sharp. He said, you should be there at my doorstep dot 9:30, not 5 minutes early or 5 minutes late. So we literally were waiting at the domestic airport in Mumbai, and we reached his house dot at 9:30, and we rang the bell, and there comes Guruji with his usual unconditional smile, and he opens the door and he welcomes us. And at first, when Guruji met us and we were asked to come into the healing room, he was a little bit upset, because he said, you guys have not been following things, and which of course I would admit it, that we probably took it little lightly on the therapies that he said, saying that, okay, what does a carrot juice do to a person, and just drinking carrot juice every day, what benefit does it have? And I think that time we didn't have this much of the people sharing their experiences, like how we are doing it right now in retreats and everything. So it was like, I think maybe we took things little light, on a lighter note. And then he said, you guys didn't follow, and that's the reason why she is diagnosed with this one. And he said, first, though he's given us the dates, he's asked us to come all the way from the US, he said, no, I will not heal her. So it was like, I was just stuck there, and I was like, Guruji, and seeing him I couldn't utter a word, and all I said was that, Guruji, we are extremely sorry, but you are the only one, that we have. And he said, no, no, you have many doctors in the world. Go to any of the doctors and the doctors will cure you. So I know the intent behind which Guruji had that thought, because my brother and sister, who are elder than me, they were too focused on me taking mom to an oncologist here in India, and they they were hell bent, to put it in short, that I have to, as soon as I landed in India, I had to literally take her to one of the best oncologists, which they quote, and get her tested, and in short, get her admitted and get her operated, or whatever, the oncologist tells me. And I was like, no. I think I was pretty firm, I would say, when I said okay to them, because I just wanted to escape from the US, in short. And I had to travel, and I was like, okay, I'll take her, don't worry, I'll keep you updated with every information. And we took the flights, and but that was not my intention at all. My thing was only to meet Guruji and, get whatever he says. He says she has to take how many ever healings and you have to be in India. I was prepared for everything. And I think this whole interaction around that time with Guruji went on because he knew that they wanted mom, to visit a regular doctor. And he was like, no, 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 take her to a regular doctor. And I was like, no, Guruji. So this went on for around 5-10 minutes. And then I said, no, Guruji. And I hugged him and I said, no, you have to cure her. And we were there in Mumbai for 3 days.
No, 1 minute. Before that, Guruji asked me, you want to come to heal with me or you want to go to the hospital? Then I told, I want to heal only.
So I think that was a decision, Advaitji, which I would put, which mom herself had to take, which was not something that we could force her, to take on. And he was like, okay, sit on the table, like he asked her sleep. And then it was that he gave her the healing, and then he looked at me and he said, you're more sick than your mom. And he said, you too need healings. I was like, okay, Guruji. And then I think after he gave her the healing, he gave me the healing. I think it was because I was not telling it out, but I was mentally so stressed out. And, I didn't have, like, I could share things with my husband, but to put it, I didn't get that comfort which I was expecting. And I think I got that the moment I first hugged Guruji in Mumbai. And then I said, okay, Guruji, if you want me to take healings, I'm ready for it. So he gave mom and me healings for 3 days. And then he said, now you can go to Hyderabad. So we, after the first healing, we went back to Anita's house, and and I think it was that he's arranged everything so smoothly for us that we had no issues with the juices. She took awesome care of us, as if it was like our own home. So we were given juices on time, we were given ginger garlic on time, and we were given coconut water, everything on time, which was arranged. And we happily came back to Hyderabad. And then this thing of my sibling started, that did you take her to the oncologist? And I was like, no. So this, I would say, the silent battle between me and my siblings, it went on and on. And every time I would get stressed, with their calls, because they would constantly call me. And there was a moment when I remember when both my siblings said that if something happens to mom and she leaves the world, then that is on you. And that actually, it struck me so hard. I was like, oh my God, am I doing the right thing? You know, you have sometimes you do have doubts creeping up into your mind. And
No, at that time my son also told me, this is your life. You have to decide. ऐसा बोलने से मेरे को थोड़ा सा पहले तो डर डर लगी, नहीं तो मेरे मन में एक ही है, गुरुजी है बस। ऐसा सोच के मैं गुरुजी के ऊपर ही छोड़ दिया।
So you were clear about it, right?
Yeah.
But
And one
your
more
son
thing,
and
मेरे
your
को तो डाउट भी
elder
नहीं
daughter.
है, मेरे को कुछ हो जाएगा बोल के मेरे को डाउट भी नहीं है। पता नहीं गुरुजी को देख के मेरे को ऐसा लगा मेरे को कुछ नहीं है, इसलिए मैंने गुरुजी से हीलिंग के लिए तैयार हो गई।
So it happened that whenever after that, she strictly, we made sure that we never visited a doctor in Hyderabad, and all she did for the next 5 months was take everything, follow strictly everything what Guruji has said. And I think her the way how she used to do self healing was, I think maybe more than 12 hours a day. Like she would constantly sleep and just heal her uterus and do the blood healing and everything. And it was that we were not scared anymore, and it was like Guruji has given a second life to her. And whenever Guruji visited, we knew that Guruji was coming to Hyderabad, so it would charge us up again, and it was like, okay, we can meet Guruji again. And so I think she's blessed to take. I cannot even give you the count of healings that she's taken from Guruji, and he's patiently given her whenever she asked. So the other person that I would want to mention here, that we have gotten immense support as a family, is Sushila auntie and her husband. Uh, so it was that I was with mom till December of 2017, and then later I had to return back to the US because of work, and mom was alone in India, but she didn't give up any of the juices or self healing or anything. So she made sure that she did all that without fail. And whenever Guruji visited Hyderabad, she would just visit him at Vasavi. I think that time the healings and Guruji's stay was at Vasavi guest house. So she would just go and meet Guruji there and get her healing. And another thing that I would like to quote here is in 2017, when Guruji visited Hyderabad. That was when he initiated me and mom into the Kundalini meditation, and I think that was a life-changing thing again. And mom was getting healed by Guruji, and and then it was that I was not being called, but mom was being called by my siblings and asked, "Did you visit the doctor?" And she would say no. And she was firm in telling it out loud that it's my life, and so you guys cannot direct as to what I have to do. And I have decided I'm going to go with Guruji. And yeah, I think that was the thing that she expressed it loud to my siblings. And she attended the Matharan retreat with Guruji's grace, and he's taken care of her at every step of the whole of the retreat. And her experience, like when she was sharing it on call with me and my sister, it was, I think, which pushed me to constantly ask Guruji for his blessing so that I could attend a retreat in India. My sister visited India in May of 2018, and she insisted that my mom get a PET scan done so that we know, what, like, typically how the prognosis is, like, the juices and everything that mom followed of Guruji. So it was that she took my mom for the PET scan, and the PET scan was done. And usually the PET scan report takes 3 days to come. So she was, I think she was curious and anxious to know what the outcome of the PET scan was. So she went and she met the doctor, and the doctor said that while doing the PET scan, he could see that there were no visibility of any of the cancer cells compared to her biopsy report that she got in the US. So he himself was surprised, saying that I don't see anything, everything is clear. So I think that was a point where my sister, I mean, we all were happy to know that, everything worked out, and it was something that we were just scared of, initially. And, and I think and when she called me and she told me that the PET scan is all clear, and all I had told her was that, see, that is what is Guruji. And then during that course of her stay in India, she was fortunate to meet Guruji because he visited Hyderabad, and all she did was she thanked him, and she said, we were ignorant, but I think Guruji told her that no, you guys believe doctors, but not what, and not, I mean, you don't have faith in me, but it's like you believe doctors. And all she could say was, we were ignorant, Guruji. And I think from that point, she also started following the juices and all, because she was with mom. So she made sure that my mom, and even my nephew, who was, I think, 7 years old back then, also used to take the carrot juice with them. So in short, I think her faith started developing in Guruji from that time onwards. And now she regularly follows all the regime that we all follow.
Okay. And how about your brother, Janki ji?
Okay, so after the PET scan results were told to him, he like my sister, he also was happy, and I think that also he started believing in Guruji. And now it is that any small thing he has, he just asks us that, can you ask Guruji what should I do? And typically it is that we tell him that you have to be very disciplined in terms of the way how you're taking the juices and doing your jal niti and ginger garlic and everything. And we tell him that there's no point in troubling Guruji for small petty things. All you have to do is follow everything in an order. And I think he also has started following since then. But I think the time has not come for them to be, absorbed by Guruji under his shade. That's what I would say, and we are just waiting for that time. So, in short, Guruji has aligned all our paths in the correct way, and that vacuum that we had in our lives, we do not have it anymore.
Wonderful. Great experience, Janki ji. You also mentioned about a second experience that you would also wish to share with the viewers. Can you please also let us know about that?
Sure. I would be honored to do that. So this was in the year 2019 when I had visited India for the retreat, because Guruji had specifically asked me to come. And this was in the month of, after attending both the retreats in India, I think I never wanted to return back to the US, to be frank. I think because the things that I've learned at the retreat and by staying at the ashram, listening to all the experiences of all the KMGians, it was that, you don't have anything back in the US, to be honest, except, for the weather and other things. I was more peaceful, I was more happy. So I asked Guruji in the month of July that, Guruji, I don't want to go back. Can I stay for a couple more months? And Guruji just smiled. He said, yeah, sure. We would like to have you here. And so it became a routine that whenever Guruji visited India, I mean Hyderabad, I would just visit the ashram, be with Guruji there. So this particular experience which I'm sharing is on behalf of my mom. It was in the month of December when she complained of like kind of weakness in the heart. So I had taken her to a cardiologist in Hyderabad, and the cardiologist did a calcium score for her, and the score was pretty high. And he told me that we would have to do an angiogram to find out if there are any blocks or anything. And he performed the angiogram, and he found that there are two major blocks on the diagonal artery of the heart. And I didn't know what to do, and it was like, okay, what is this new thing that nature has bestowed on her? And I called Guruji, and he told me that she might have been taking calcium medicines, and that is the result of this, the blockages. And he said, well, if she has to get the angioplasty done, then she has to get it done. And I think at that moment he was in Kannur, and we had Dr. Prasina and Deepak as well with him. And he said, talk to Prasina. And he gave the call to her, and she said that, it's kind of, she would have to go through like what the doctors say, and then, maybe take preventive measures and everything. So it was kind of another standstill point that I had, that, okay, what is this? Because I was scheduled to return back in mid of Jan, and this happened exactly during the end of December. So I was like, okay, and the thought that I had was that, why would Guruji put down the phone so quickly, not even, like trying to soothe me out, saying that that's okay, I'm there for you, kind of. Because I think we all have kids in front of Guruji, his children. So I was like, how can Guruji just put down the phone? And that thought was still lingering in my head. And the next day, I just took her to a temple, and I get a call from Pooja Di, and she tells me, Guruji wants you to come to Mumbai. So I was like, okay. So he heard my silent talk that I was talking every day, and I was like, okay. So she said, Guruji wants you to get the angiogram done, so that we know how many blocks are there, and then he wants you to come to Mumbai. I was like totally charged up. I'm like, okay, I'm taking an appointment with the cardiologist for that. And on December 31st, I think I took her to Star Hospitals in Hyderabad, and we got that thing done, and they said she had 2 major blocks. And she was discharged on Jan 2nd, and 3rd morning was our flight to Mumbai. So I just messaged Guruji that, Guruji, our flight is in the morning. And all he said was, just chant Om Shanti, everything will be fine. And you cannot believe, like, these are small instances where, we started to the airport and we got delayed. But then I think it was the magic of her Om Shanti gun that, when we reached the counter, we had an Air India person come to us, and it was that we were the first one to board the flight because mom had wheelchair assistance, and I think that was something that, we were the first to board, and me and mom were just smiling that, everything is handled so smoothly uh, by Guruji, I would say, and we reached Mumbai, uh, and then Guruji gave mom, and he gave me also healings. I think for me to become strong to go through this whole process that mom was going through. And we returned back to Hyderabad, and mom was scheduled for her angioplasty on Jan 9th, and we finished that. And on the 13th, when she was discharged, Guruji was in Hyderabad. So it was, I would say that he was, at the back end, he was slowly blessing that everything goes on well. And it was a smooth process for her, the whole of the, the procedure. And Jan 14th, we met Guruji at the ashram. And he hugged mom and he said, I still remember, he said, "Kitne stunt dale?" And mom said two. He said, "Ek hi dala hoga, par do ke paise liye honge." So we just laughed it out, and he said, "Nothing to worry. You have to just do more of." Typically what Guruji had said was that though the doctors have performed this procedure, right, it's not going to make that of a difference to you. All you have to do is heal yourself more, follow everything, and that's what it is. And yeah, she's been doing that since then. And once in a while, just a regular checkup with the doctor, like her, and that's about it. So she's been following that regime of the juices, the jalniti, the ginger garlic, and all. And one thing I would like to say here is sometimes, being lazy, I would say, I don't shy away from saying this, but sometimes when you're a little lazy and you don't follow the particular, the regime that we are following, then it happens that your body tells you, it's now like that it tells you that, hey, you know what, you didn't give me the ginger garlic today. Or it tells that you didn't give me the pineapple juice or the coconut water. So I think the body has got in tuned with Guruji's, the juice therapy, the self-healings and everything. So I think now even though we forget sometimes, it's the body which reminds you that, hey, you need to give me this, so you better give me. So that's one thing. And the second experience, a personal one that I would want to quote here, is I returned back in February of 2020 back to the US. And Guruji had told me that now it's enough for you to stay in India. You have stayed longer. Now it's time for you to go back. And I returned on Feb the 20th. And on March 5th, we have this regular physical care appointments here in the US with the doctors. And my husband was scheduled for his annual physical. And he visited the doctor, and the doctor told him that you have to rush to the ER because you are going to have a heart attack. So he came home, and I was working from home then. So he didn't tell me what the doctor had said. He told me that, okay, I have to go for a test. I will get the test done, and I will come back. I was like, okay, so do you want me to come? And he said no. And he went to Henry Ford in Detroit. And he went to the ER first, and he didn't have any symptoms or such. And he drove to the ER, he got himself admitted. And he was there in the ER, and then I think they shifted him to the main Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit. And he called me and he said, well, they are doing further some more tests, so I will be here and I will come back the next day. I was like, okay, so do you want me to come? And he was like, no, I don't think they allow visitors at night. So I had no clue of what was going on, and I was like, okay, and I know he could handle himself. He's a pretty strong person. So the next day I called him and I said, so everything okay? Give me the room number and all so that I could come. And he said they are taking me for an angiogram to see if there are any blocks or anything. And I was like, oh, what was that? And now I think with this experience of mom, I knew, okay, what is an angiogram, what the cardiologists do and everything. And I was like, okay. So I was like, okay, I'll leave now. He's like, by the time I think they would finish off with the whole thing. And I reached the hospital, and I was taken to the cath lab. And there the cardiologist tells me that he has 3 major blocks. One was a 90% block on his main artery, the LAD, and 2 were on the diagonal, which were like, one was 70 and one was a 90% block. And they said that we would have to think if it would be if we could stent him, or we would have to do a bypass. So that it took us a little while for me to actually absorb that whole fact, what they were letting out. And I was like, okay, a bypass is a new thing for me here, because I think Guruji made me go through this stenting thing, and he was like, it's a small thing, and this, when they said bypass, it was like, okay, so now what's this something new, and we almost debated for, like, because we had the cardiothoracic surgeon come through, have a word with us, explain the whole procedure and everything, but I was like, okay, we need time. And I think we prolonged it for almost like 3-4 days, and he was in the ICU. The first thing that I did was, I knew that with these experiences and everything, Guruji knew, and I had just messaged him, and he said, just be peaceful. That's all he told me. And I didn't wanted to bother him, because though I was going through a lot, and it was the start of COVID here, so typically, my brother or no one could visit, because they never allowed anyone into the hospital. So it was just me, and the first thing that I did was, I took Guruji's picture and I placed it under his pillow. And I told him, I know you don't believe in Guruji, but I believe in him, so I just want him to be around me so that everything is taken care of. So they performed the first angioplasty on him on March 11th. And the procedure went on for, I think, for 4.5 hours, which typically shouldn't take that long. But because of this blockage of the LAD, it took them 4.5 hours. And they informed us that the procedure was not success. So they basically couldn't go through, the artery and all, and they said we would have to redo this again after he recoups for maybe after 4 months or so. So we were like, okay. And during this whole phase of from March 5th till the 11th, I think I was constantly in touch with Guruma, and I'm quoting this because I was alone. I needed that support, which I know Guruji was giving me indirectly, but I think she was the one person who picked my call whenever I called her. So she's that, like that angel mother, I would call. I would like Gurumai would message her and she would pick the call and she would like, why are you worried? Everything will be fine. Just chant Om Shanti. It's just a test that nature is putting forth towards you. And we returned back home, and the major COVID thing started here in Michigan, and that day was the day when he started with the juice therapy of Guruji. So he started with the carrot juice. I mean, honestly, he's never tried the anar juice, but I'm just waiting for that day when he starts the anar juice. But he started his strict regime of going through the carrot juice and through pineapple juice in the evenings, the kadhi pata juice in the morning, in the afternoons before lunch, ginger garlic twice a day. And I was surprised because he himself would make the ginger garlic paste before dinner, and he would say it's time for ginger garlic, and I was like, okay, you're coming on the track. And so this whole he still follows these, to be honest, though I'm now in New Jersey. So this went on till October. And October, he was scheduled, the cardiologist scheduled for the procedure. And I think it was all Guruji's grace that they could finish the procedure. And the procedure took a pretty long time because there were some hiccups in the procedure that they did. But his lad was clear, I think, because of the carrot juice and everything that he did. They were able to get inside, as per what the interventional cardiologist told me, that within 2 minutes, that they could get into the you say the lad, and then it was that he was stented, and the procedure, to be honest, Advaitji, the procedure took 6.5 hours, and I was like little worried, because I was the only one sitting in the visitors' lounge. But when they called me out, like he was taken at 1:30 and they called me at 8 o'clock and in the night, and it was like, okay, what's happening? And when they called me, I asked and I think it's a grace here again, I would put, the interventional cardiologist was from Delhi. So he was an Indian, and it was a smooth process for us to actually converse with him and ask him all the doubts that we had. And he just smiled. He said, "I'm so sorry that you had to wait for so long, but it was so smooth and everything, and he's all good." So, and the next day he was just discharged. And his heart and healthy, touchwood, with Guruji's grace, and he still follows that. But I think the time has to still come for her, that day when he personally meets Guruji, and he is absorbed into the shade of Guruji's grace. I'm just waiting for that day. But this is a personal experience where I would say that it's made me more stronger. I mean, once in a while, I fumble a lot, based on the instances or the things that nature throws on. But I know that, okay, it's just a hiccup in the process or in life, and all you have to do is just sit quiet, chant Om Shanti, and things are all taken care of. Because I feel now that Guruji and Guruma are the one who silently are taking care of all our lives through, where we don't see them, but I know that they are behind everything. And the way how things are shaping up in life, I think I honestly, I owe my life to my mom, because she has given birth. but I owe my this life to Guruji and Guruma. In short, that is what I would put it.
All that is really wonderful, the way you shared this. So, thank you. A few questions, Janki ji. First is you mentioned
Sure,
about
sure.
Shamla ji doing self-healing for almost 12 hours every day. That's very
Hmm.
unusual for someone to commit that much time on self-healing. So, would you be able to share anything particular about how she did this self-healing, or whether she got any experiences which kind of helped her build on the self-healing? Because I'm sure she would have probably started with a few minutes, then graduated to an hour or so. So, uh, if this is something that you are aware, that you can share about her experiences on self healing and how she actually adopted that regime.
Sure. This was in like 2017 after Guruji gave her the three initial healings in Mumbai, and we returned back to Hyderabad. So all mom did was that because Guruji had told her that though I have given you the healings, I have given my energy into you, but you will have to continue doing the self healing so that those energies work on you. So all she I made sure that she never did any house chores during that time, and all she did was just do self healing, follow the juices strictly on time. And so I gave her ample time for mom to just take rest and do self healing. So all she did was, I mean, just sleep, and whenever so she would be healing and she would just doze off to sleep. So and she would wake up, have her lunch, sleep. So I think it was during her sleeping time that she continued doing the self healing, which still she does that, because I think now she's so accustomed to it that she just places her hands on all the chakras of the body, and she heals her. So yeah, so there's no I would say it was all Guruji's instructions to her, and she used to feel initially weak, but when she used to do self healing, she would tell me that she could feel the heat passing through the chakras of hers, and and all she did was, I think that gave her relaxation and gave her that strength back. So she just continued that.
Yeah, the other question I have is, uh, so you met Guruji and Shamlaji met Guruji in 2011, and these incidents basically have happened, especially the first experience of cancer has happened around 2017. Right. And I think, as what you mentioned, is Guruji was a bit upset that it's primarily because having missed out on some of the healing protocols. So I would say maybe we've learned the lesson the hard way around. But having experienced that, how are you ensuring that you're now committed to this healing protocol of what Guruji has prescribed for all of you? Is there any kind of self discipline or
I
some
mean,
kind of, because it's not easy also to because it takes quite a bit of commitment to be able to internalize that protocol.
right. I mean, like what you said, yeah, we did learn it the hard way, and it was that okay, you have to, be systematic, be disciplined, in following all his instructions to the T. And I mean, here, I mean, mom visited. Now she is in the US with us. So, and in the US, like as you are aware, we do not get pomegranate all through the year like how we get them fresh in India. So now it is that the season when we do not get the pomegranate, because carrots and pineapples and kadi pata and coriander and curry leaves, you get them in abundant quantity, but coming to the anar, which is the main thing, you do not get them all through the year. So now what we have done, when we get anar in the season, we take them and we make sure that we dry them out, the peel and the seeds too, and we make a powder at home and we keep them. I mean, that's another thing that I asked Guruji when I was in India, and he was like, yeah, you can do that. So when we do not get anar in the season, we make sure that we have this at least to take out the toxins and out of the body. I know it is not the most appropriate way of doing it, but trying to cope with what we have. So this is one thing we have started doing. So I think following whatever Guruji has said, like I said, we might miss a day, but then your body tells you that you have to, you forgot to give me this. So, make sure you do not miss it. So we have been following, and typically during the COVID season here, still there, you cannot visit the stores initially like every week as such and get, fresh carrots and fresh pineapples. So we started going with these organic carrot juice that is available, and it's I had asked Guruji, and Guruji said, what can you do if you are not able to get things, so just go with what you have. So we have been following with the organic carrot juice that is available in the market, and then the pineapple juice, and the kadhi patta and everything is available. So making that juice is not a problem. And then, like I said, we have the anar powder at home. So following everything is, we have disciplined ourselves to follow everything and not to miss, because you don't. And typically me and mom, we don't want to go through another ailment that mom will have or we will come through across. So it's like we learned it the harder way, and with Guruji's grace we came out of it. So we are making sure that we follow everything that Guruji has instructed to the T.
Great, great. And with these experiences that you narrated, Janki ji, I'm sure your friends, people in your network, your family, would be the first-hand witness to all of this. So, what would be your advice to? I hope, I mean, nobody goes through this, but God forbid, right? These situations happen. What would be your advice to people? Because it's very difficult on all these alternative healing modalities. It's sometimes very difficult to believe them, although there is a proper science and logic behind them. But yet somehow the medical sciences, they don't really recognize them, or they somehow are viewed in a different light, right? But it's people like us who have actually gone through these experiences who can share. So what would be your advice to the viewers of this video? Because a lot of viewership here is about people who have not experienced Guruji's healings, but they are quite curious. What would be your advice,
Right.
given all your experiences, to such people?
The first thing I would say is, love your body, don't take it for granted. And the other thing is that follow there are a couple of friends of mine, and relatives of mine who have seen the change in mom once she started taking these juices and all, and they used to ask, what's the change? Because her skin is glowing, and she's, you can I think this is evident in all the KMGians of us, because of the carrot which does the magic, and the anar and everything, that you see that people look young and everyone looks so fresh and happy, and everything, the skin of everyone glows. So all we tell is, first it's the blessing of Guruji, and then second it's the juices that we take. So my recommendation, for all the people who have not met Guruji, and who are maybe in the future who will be blessed to meet Guruji, would be to first discipline yourself, and then take the juices which are required, right? Like the carrot juice, which improves the immunity, and the anar juice. I have told these. I have told the juice regime of ours to many of my friends, and I think they have started with the carrot juice and the pineapple because it's easy, but not with the anar yet. But for all the people who have not met Guruji, I would say follow with the juices regularly, and if possible, it's simple. All the ingredients which they are available home. It's just that you have to know the technique of how to make the juices, right? So carrots are available. You just have to take carrot juice, and then the green juice that we have. So basically, it's a mixture of all the kadhi patta, the curry leaves, and uh, coriander and mint. All you have to do is blend them and make a juice and drink it. And the pineapple juice which is available. So I would say it's. I mean, people wouldn't know the benefits of these, but all they would have to do is, just follow the regime and start with, if possible, jalniti. And yeah, I would say that you love your body, so just take care of it in the right way.
Janki ji, you've been very patient, sharing your experiences. It was wonderful. I myself have made quite a few notes, uh, looking at the experiences you've shared, and I'm sure the same would also be true for our viewers. Uh, so, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Advaitji, yeah, for giving me this opportunity. I would indirectly thank Guruji for picking mom and my name for the interview. I know I had delayed it a bit, and but I mean, my apologies for that. But thank you for having this interview where I could share a little of the knowledge that I've gained, and it was nice talking to you. Om Shanti.
Thank you so much. Om Shanti.